want to thank everybody for coming today. Um, I'm Dallas's husband, Mark, and I'm thankful that you're here to celebrate her life with me and with the rest of the family and with her many friends. So thank you. 18 years ago, tomorrow, we were wed on a friend's back deck in Los Osos with the Irish Hills in the background and our families and a few close friends surrounding us. Many of those people are here today. Some of you are friends of Dallas from childhood. Others of you are among the many friends that she picked up along the way with her charm, her wit, and her pure enjoyment of life that always seemed to draw people to her. That's what drew me to her. We also have a number of family members here, including some of the Minnesota Schuster side of the family, which was Dal's mom, her side of the family. Some of you here today are friends of mine who may or may not have met Dallas, but you certainly heard about her from me, and you are here to support me, and I truly appreciate it. So really, whatever reason brings you here today, I'm very grateful, and I know the family, Dallas's family, is very grateful. A service like this is really meant for us, I think, for those of us who are left behind. We celebrate Dallas' life because it feels good to do so. It feels right to express our gratitude for the gift of her life to us. And on occasions like this, it's also important for us to acknowledge our sadness and our grief. These are signs of our love for her. So we come seeking comfort as well in this deep loss that we feel. So I wanted to be the one to welcome you today and say thank you for coming. Our good friends, Patty and Alan, will be handling the guiding of this service from here, and our media tech person, Stephanie, was kind of handling everything else on the tech side, and we're grateful for all of them. As we celebrate Dal's life today, I think we can all agree that there really isn't a better way or no other way to do so than with music, dancing, poetry, photography. Some of the photos that you're going to see on the slides are photos that she took of nature and flowers, laughter, and friendship. These are things that must be a part of our celebration. So we're actually going to begin with a piece of music, a handbell selection titled Ma Navu, a Hebrew song based on Isaiah 52, verse 7. How lovely on the mountains are the feet of one who brings good news. And this piece, along with a piece later in the service, is performed by members of a bell choir with Dal's sister Lori in it, and three other members, Evelyn, Fernanda, and Berlin. And so we thank them for this musical offering.
Thank you. Now we're going to hear from two of Dallas's friends. First is Susie Voss, who has been the best of friends with Dallas longer than anyone, ever since they met at Santa Maria High School in the 60s. They've stayed in touch over the years and have traveled together. Following Susie is Ann Lucas, who was a choral instructor at Allen Hancock College when Dallas and Mark moved to Santa Maria in 2010. Dallas soon joined this intergenerational choir and loved every bit of it. This is a photo of the choir performing with Dallas in the back row and Ann directing.
Dal and I were dear friends for well over 50 years. As we each found our way in life, sometimes many months and even years would pass before we could get together. But when we did manage it, that lost time seemed to just evaporate. We would share our sorrows, our joys, and our love of music, and always, always we would laugh. We met at MYF, a Methodist youth group in Santa Maria. In the summer of 1963, we volunteered at a day camp for children of farm workers. Although few of us spoke Spanish, we managed to sing, do crafts, and play games with the children. The next summer, Dal and I were almost seniors, so we decided we needed an adventure, preferably one that took us away from home into the bigger world. We look pretty innocent here, but looks can be deceiving. We convinced our parents to let us travel by Greyhound bus to Utah to visit Dal's grandmother, where we stayed for 2 weeks and had a great time. After 2 weeks, we didn't want the fun to end and thought we might go just a bit further to Minnesota to visit Dal's aunt and uncle. So we both wrote our parents a letter convincing them that the other set of parents had pretty much agreed to that. It worked, and after another 1,000+ miles on Greyhound bus, we had 2 more carefree weeks. One of our favorite customs over the years was playing the duet Tea for Two while trying to see the notes through our tears of laughter. It became our theme song. We had many more years of playing piano duets and having more travel adventures, fortunately never again on a Greyhound bus. The Hawaiian Islands were a favorite destination for us. We visited Hawaii in 1991, Maui in 1997, and again in 2002. Dal loved the beauty of nature in the islands and always found something interesting to capture on film in her unique way. These are only a few that she took on our last trip to Maui. Dal was a wonderful photographer and continued to explore new ways of working with images as time went on. Now, on that last trip to Maui, one couldn't help notice that Dal was a little distracted. It seemed she had just fallen in love with a Methodist minister of all things and spent hours writing letters, talking on the phone, or just looking glassy-eyed. That all turned out okay, though. She and that minister got married a year later. And in another few years, I met an Englishman in Greece, of all things, and Mark agreed to marry us. I was a little nervous about Dal's speech at the reception because good friends know all your secrets, but that turned out okay too. This is one of my very favorite photos of Dal. She was such a beautiful person in every way. I will honor her by remembering with joy the time we shared. I will think of her kindness and her brilliance and the lovely sound of her laughter.
Good afternoon. It's my great honor to speak at the memorial for Dallas, and Mark, thank you so much for the opportunity. Music is what brought us into each other's lives. I met Dallas in the spring of 2010 after the Ellen Hancock College Singers, of whom I was the director, gave our spring concert at the First United Methodist Church in Santa Maria. Mark was the new pastor there, somehow unbeknownst to me at that point, and the two of them attended our performance. We chatted after the concert, and she expressed interest in taking choir at Hancock in the fall, so she did, and our fast friendship began almost immediately. She quickly became one of the most beloved members of our choir family. Everyone knew her, everyone loved her, and everyone counted her as a friend. Her musical gifts were strong and were part of the reason I called the alto section the Mighty Altos. When we sang Messiah with the Santa Maria Philharmonic in 2012, I made sure that I stood next to her in the performance because I needed her sure voice in my ear. She was also a prodigiously gifted photographer, and at every end of semester party, took studio quality portraits of every member of the choir. And although we were all very good-looking people, she made us all look gorgeous. Those pictures are still on the choir's Facebook site, and I was looking at them last night, reading all the comments and admiring her handiwork. She posted plenty of pictures of her Pomeranian, Sadie, too, who became the official choir dog. There's a great video of Sadie howling while Dallas poked out one of the choir's pieces on the piano. Dallas is so real to me with this evidence left behind, as well as my memories, that I can scarcely believe there exists a reality without her in it. Dallas exemplified grace and light. We all know how much of both she had because we all have felt it. She just radiated when she sang. I look at the videos of our performances and it is a joy to watch her. She took a break from choir when she was first diagnosed with breast cancer, and the whole choir family grieved that she was not with us. In about a year and a half, she was recovered enough to pay a surprise visit to a Thursday afternoon rehearsal. And when she walked into the room, I had my back turned, but I could see right in front of me that the altos were having a collective seizure, all pointing and yelling, "Look, look, look," as the room just erupted. I always thought she would come back and sing with us. Driving in from Santa Barbara would have been no problem, right? I also had a fantasy that she and Mark would move back to Los Osos and we could live next door to each other. Mark has written a lot of beautiful poetry about Dallas, and indeed his very entries in Caring Bridge were poetry themselves. In just a moment, we will hear a Kentucky folk song, Bright Morning Star, that is deeply poetic in both music and lyrics. The Hancock Choir sang this particular arrangement in 2009, and it expresses both the deep loss and the deep hope we feel when someone dear has passed. But there's another poem that sprang to mind when I was thinking about Dallas, and it is Theodore Roethke's I Knew a Woman. He was clearly writing about a partner, but the first verse captures what Dallas means to me, so I'll read just that. I knew a woman, lovely in her bones. When small birds sighed, she would sigh back at them. Ah, when she moved more ways than one. The shapes a bright container can contain. Of her choice virtues only gods should speak, or English poets who grew up on Greek. I'd have them sing in chorus, cheek to cheek. Rest in peace, lovely friend. I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Anne. That was beautiful. And thank you, Susie. I've heard of Susie and Anne so often. It's really lovely to meet you. My name is Patty Strout. I didn't know Dallas before she and Mark came to Santa Barbara to join our church staff. Alan and Mark had worked together in church district and conference committees, but I didn't know them. And then Dallas and I quickly became best friends. She was my best friend, my co-conspirator, my accomplice. She was the person who, if I said, "Do you wanna?" she would answer yes before I even told her what I had in mind. Pre-COVID, we probably did something together 2 or 3 times a week. She was Lucy to my Ethel. She was Thelma to my Louise. She was that friend you cannot live without. I loved her, and I knew she loved me, and that was great. There was a quality to my friend's love, and I miss her. Such a bright light. Isn't that what everybody says when they talk about Dallas? It's a good description. She always lit up a room when she walked in. Part of that was that she was beautiful. She was tall and lovely and had a flash of something, these great earrings or a bright necklace or a scarf. And she always had the best shoes ever. She just lit up the room. And she had this smile that lit up other people in the room too. People loved being with her. And when they were with her, they felt seen. Mark made sure I knew I only had a few minutes, so I just wanted to share one of my favorite stories. A few years ago, Dallas and I and Bailey went to Santa Ynez wine tasting, and there was a woman across the room who came over to ask me something about Bailey. And I apologized and said, this is Dallas's dog, Bailey. And the lady blushed and apologized, saying that she assumed the 2 of us were a couple and that Bailey was our dog together. Dallas was delighted. And she said the reason that we looked like a couple was because we loved each other so much and that our husbands actually worked together and were United Methodist ministers. So we all laughed. And we told her that the church had just become a reconciling congregation, and that meant that we welcomed people of all orientation, and that we could be a couple, be fine. Well, this led this woman to tell us that her son was gay and that he had never felt comfortable in their church. And we were able to hug her and affirm her, and we made a friend, and it was a great day. And I have lots of stories. I have so many stories, and Mark kept telling me I had to keep it short. COVID and then cancer robbed her from me, and instead of going out to lunch several times a week, we would get together 6 feet apart in her backyard every few weeks. And then more infrequently as her strength began to wane, and our conversations became texts. Lots and lots of texts. She was the person that got me, that knew from a look in my eye what I was thinking or feeling. She was the person that could make me laugh so hard that stuff would come out my nose. And she was the first person I would text in the morning and the last person I would text at night, and lots of times in between. I want to close with something I read by Anne Lamott that has traveled with me all through my grief. And she writes, "You will lose someone that you can't live without, and your heart will be badly broken. And the bad news that you never completely get over the loss of your beloved. But this is also the good news. They live forever in our broken heart that doesn't seal back up. And you come through. It's like having a broken leg that never heals perfectly, that still hurts when the weather gets cold, but you learn to dance with a limp." I miss you, Dallas.
As we move forward in our celebration, we'll next hear from a group of good friends in Los Osos who were dubbed the Misfits by Dallas for reasons that you will hear in their presentation. After them, Mark's children, Ethan and Hannah, will read selected psalms. Dallas called them her bonus children and tried to offer the best of her love and support as they were growing up. And then Craig Russell, a retired Cal Poly music professor and good friend of Mark and Dallas, will share some thoughts and even play a guitar, a piece written for popular dance in the Baroque period. A number of years ago, Craig put one of Mark's love poems to Dallas titled Wings of Bliss to music that was performed by choirs and orchestra at the Performing Arts Center in San Luis Obispo. We'll begin with the Misfits.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Clover. I'm one of a group of 5, now 4, really good friends from Trinity United Methodist in Los Osos. Well, my story about Dallas began on the first Sunday our family went to TUMC in 2003. We introduced ourselves to the congregation, and after the service, Dallas tapped me on the shoulder and announced to me that I was going to be her new best friend. And I instantly was. As so many of you know, she was a sparkling magnet, one who smiled and listened, shared, was witty and understanding, a shining light of a friend. We did all the girlfriend things then, like lunching together, shopping, phoning, joining choir together. Then it turned into a couple's friendship, with the 4 of us, Mark and Bob, getting together, having spontaneous dinners, going on trips. We even took a cruise together. Our families got to be very close too. Dallas and Mark, her mom Vaughn, Ethan and Hannah, along with our kids and their kids. We had many holidays and special times together, enough so that we considered ourselves as one big family. It was a very special and wonderful time for us. Of course, there were other wonderful folks at TUMC, and we were glad to get to know them, though not in such an involved way. But we did share some similar limitations. I'll let them explain.
Hi, I'm Cynthia McCabe. I'm one of the Misfits, and this letter is for Dallas. Dallas, we miss you. I remember when I first really spent any time with you. It's when you had just recently come to Trinity and you were dating Mark, and I thought, oh, anybody who is dating Mark has got to be a wonderful person. So I invited you to get to know you to my birthday party. A group of friends and I were going down to the Getty in Los Angeles, and it's such a fun time with you. I remember just so much laughter and giggles in the car. All of a sudden you felt like a sister to me. And then a group of us found out that you and Mark were coming back to Los Osos to lead a funeral, and we decided to have lunch for you because we missed you. You had moved to Santa Maria, and so we made lunch at our house, and we loved the time together. It was so much fun laughing and spending time together that we decided we needed to do that more often. And because we had so many food allergies, you named us the Misfits, all us quirky people together. Anyways, we developed relationships over time that were both light and meaningful, deep and full of laughter. And you will forever have a place at our table, Dallas. You will forever be a part of our Misfits. And we promise to take care of Mark how we can and when we can. And anyways, love you. Thanks for gracing us with your presence over the last years and bringing us such delight and joy.
Hi, I'm Susan Hightower. My husband Ross and I first met Dallas and Mark through church here in Los Osos, but we got to know them best when we were invited to join in with a dinner club, the Misfits. While wondering what to say here today, I looked through old emails and found one from 2013 explaining to my sister about our group. I described everyone, two longtime friends, Marion and Cynthia, and their husbands, Vaughn and Dan, and new friends, Dallas, a sweetie I wrote, Mark, and Dallas's best friend, Elizabeth, and her husband, Bob. Our dinner group is weird, I went on to tell her, because of everyone's eating issues. We could not do gluten, nor sugar, not much dairy, and certainly not meat. One of us even gets ill from olive oil. And then there were some that just don't care for certain foods like mushrooms and eggplant. I always had to email the others to make sure I was getting it right. Over the years, though, this group has helped me pay a little more attention to what I eat. And the results of these limits were not meals that were just healthy, but they were creative, they were eclectic, and they were amazing. I had at first wondered why I was invited to join in with this group, but Dallas immediately made me feel special, like she did it with everyone, and I no longer wondered. Dallas was our glue, and her and Mark were the reasons we started the Misfits. We will carry on meeting for dinners, and we will set a place for her, and we will do our best to honor her wit, her honesty, and her bright light. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Marianne Kaiser, and I am also a misfit. I think Dallas would want us to laugh today. She loved laughter, and she had a delightful sense of humor. Who else would wear a sports bra on the top of her fancy dress for our Academy Awards Misfits dinner? There was one time when shopping locally, she decided to come up with a menu. She emailed the group a creative 5-course meal of gopher delights. Yes, rodents. There were sauteed gopher gizzards, pickled gopher feet, and frozen gopher tails. She said, I try to shop locally, and it doesn't get any localer than that. I was in awe of Dallas's creativity and wit. If there was ever a break in the conversation, she'd insert a funny comment or make an observation. It was so much fun for all of us, and it brought us all closer together. Dallas was sensitive, but she was also to the point. She'd tell it like it is, and she wouldn't sugarcoat anything, and I really appreciated that about her. But she was also a great listener. But my absolute most favorite memories will be of Dallas's laughter and her twinkling eyes. We could all go on and on about our memories of Dallas, but there will never be enough time to tell you, Dallas, how much we miss you and how much we love you. So, friend, may you be at peace, and may we never forget you. And we will always have a place for you at our table. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bob Clover. I'm speaking for the male misfits, which I know sounds redundant to about half of you. But we miss Dallas. She fit right in with us misfits. We'll miss her sparkling eyes, her great big smile, and her unique laugh.
Unnameable God, I feel you with me at every moment. You are my food, my drink, my sunlight, and the air I breathe. You are the ground I have built on and the beauty that rejoices my heart. I give thanks to you at all times for lifting me from my confusion, for teaching me in the dark and showing me the path of life. I have come to the center of the universe. I rest in your perfect love. In your presence, there is fullness of joy and blessedness forever and ever.
You are tender and compassionate. Yours is a patient and unchanging love. Higher than the heavens above us, vaster than space is your love. Longer than 10 billion years will you wait for us to return. As tenderly as parents treat their children, that's how tenderly you treat us. for you know what we are made of. You remember that we are dust. Our lives are as brief as the grasses. We blossom like a flower in a field. When a strong wind comes, it is rooted up and disappears from its place. But your love is eternal, and your justice is everlasting.
Teach us how short our time is. Let us know it in the depth of our souls. Show us that all things are transient, as insubstantial as dreams, and that after heaven and earth have vanished, there is only you. Fill us in the morning with your wisdom, shine through us all our lives.
Let our hearts soon grow transparent in the radiance of your love. Show us how precious each day is. Teach us to be fully here, and let the work of our hands prosper for a little while.
Dear Dallas, 3 years ago on my birthday, you wrote, "Happy birthday to my bonus daughter who is always willing to go one step deeper into the silliness zone with me." Deep in the silliness zone are the moments that stand out most in our relationship. You won me over quickly in the early days by being a good sport when Ethan and I found a new way to scare you every time you came over for dinner. It started out very lighthearted as we got to know each other, and I loved being around you because you somehow made everything more fun in small, silly ways. From teaching me new marching rhymes as we walked in sync to seeing who could sing an old commercial jingle faster. I knew you were trying to win me over because you liked my dad, but could also tell how genuinely you wanted to know me, and I really couldn't help but like you from the start. I want to share with you something my mom said after you passed. Bonus mom was a tribute conferred on Dallas early in their relationship, a role she delightedly embraced and embodied with grace, creativity, generosity of spirit, and her trademark sense of fun. I think that sums it up perfectly. You showed me how to truly enjoy the fun of dancing without worrying about what I looked like, and how to open up in those moments of fun and silliness to connect with others. When everyone else would just laugh about something like the way I named all my possessions, you were willing to dive all the way in with me and get as serious about that silly business as I was. You encouraged life is short type moments of joy that others wouldn't consider, like eating a giant plate of bacon for my birthday dinner. Your squeals of pure delight in the littlest moments, like a bird taking a piece of food from your hand, will never fade from my memory. Soon, you were not only a source of fun and silliness, but also became a safe place where I could go to bare my soul, ask advice, and feel deeply heard. One vivid memory I cherish is the time I was visiting as a newly fledged adult, overwhelmed by adult expectations. I took a late night bath to relax, but instead spiraled into a mild panic attack. I woke you up and told you that my heart would not stop pounding and I couldn't get it to calm down. It felt childish to come to you, but you wrapped me in your arms in bed and gently stroked my hair for a long while until I finally felt calm. When I'm missing you most, I close my eyes and go back to that night with your soothing presence next to me. You can't make it less painful that you're gone, but you will be there as long as it takes to help me feel calm again and ready to open my eyes. Thank you for loving my dad so deeply and embracing Ethan and I as bonuses. You really were a beautiful bonus, and I'm glad that we got to have you for a little while. I hope I can be as fully present for life and love and silliness as you were. I love you.
Well, before I play, I'll say a few words. I was really lucky because I got to see Dallas and Mark fall in love. There are certain times in life when you get to experience a wonderful thing in life, like the birth of your child or whatever, and we don't usually get to watch people fall in love. Not like that. It was really great. I'd see Dallas and Mark at the women's basketball games at Cal Poly, and they'd be cheering and I'd be cheering. It was really fun. And I'd see Mark at church, and then later I asked Mark if I could set some of his poems to music. So I asked for 5 sacred ones and 5 love poems. And I felt really privileged because it's sort of like seeing into someone's soul, both parts. And so I can't think of Dallas without thinking about Pastor Mark and his lenses and how he would see her. It was just wonderful. On a less serious moment, we have 2 uninvited guests for the service that I fed Lauren and Lucy, our neighborhood chickens, when Cyrus and Mavis went to China for the summer. And they are on my porch clucking, asking me to feed them. And I actually think it's perfect because every time I saw Dallas, she made me laugh, like every time. I think of Dallas, I can't imagine Dallas without laughing. So you have an unexpected trio, Lucy and Lauren, our neighborhood chickens, and me. And I hope to get through this. Mark, I'm sort of a wreck, but I'll give it a try. Okay, this is a saraband by Bartolotti for Baroque guitar and 2 chickens.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, and thank you, Misfits. And, Ethan, again, thank you so much. That was got to my soul. And now we're going to hear from Dallas's older brother Damon, along with Mary Stebbins, whom Dallas considered her bonus sister. And then we're going to hear from Dallas's younger sister Lori, who also organized the lovely handbell pieces played today by her friends that are part of the bell choir at her church in Livermore, and who has become a dear friend to me. Thank you, Lori.
Anybody that's grown up, any guy that's grown up with a younger sister can probably figure out what I'm about to tell you. They're always there at your hip. They always want to know what you're doing. And they always want to get into your stuff. So I survived those years and I turned 15. This is when we lived in Minnesota. And she was 12. And I was the proud owner of a brand new driver's license at the age of 15. I didn't have anyone to take anywhere or anywhere to go that I could justify to my mom that I needed a car. She called, or she talked to me one day and says, I've got a meeting at the house. There's women coming over and it's Dal's piano lesson. Can you get her to the piano lessons? Oh yeah, I can get her to the piano lessons. So we started doing that. And that allowed me to drive the car all around for the hours she was taking piano lessons. I was dragging Main and every other street in town that I could find. And that's how we started out being kind of more pals than we were before. We moved to Santa Maria from Minnesota when I was a second year at Hancock College, and I think Dal was a senior. I wasn't having any luck on the dating field because I didn't know what to do. I wasn't the right age. Something was wrong. I had 2 jobs. I was trying to go to school. And I made a complaint one time, and she says, well, the older girls just aren't paying attention to you, but I've got a couple of girls that are really cute, and they're not seniors. And I thought, oh, I can do this. And so for that last year in college, I dated a lot of her friends. Sometimes just once, but we had a date. And it was wonderful. She was always watching out for the others, and I was her current project. I felt safe. She was my sister. Things were all good. Got me through a personal time that gave me confidence. And so friendship was not a passing fancy for Dal, as you guys are all proving. I knew this. And she communicated near and far with friends from a year ago, and writing and picking up the phone to talk with all, telling me stories about such did this. And do you remember them? She asked me. Well, she always remembered them, you guys. I couldn't remember. Her friends were all great people. She had that knack. You're all saying that, of course. Our great parents loved, guided, and directed us in the correct way to succeed as compassionate humans. It comes from her mom and dad. I think Dal was the star of that upbringing. She got all the lessons. I got some, Laura got some, but Dal got them all. She was generous to a fault in many ways, and I valued her opinions, asked her for her opinion, and a few words went a long ways with me. Even if we only talked a couple of times a year, as I had then moved to Arizona. Dallas and Lori gave me great support when they traveled all the way to Tucson for my wife's final service before we buried her. And I will never forget that. It was extremely passionate of both of them. 2 years ago in Albuquerque, I dropped over dead. I got revived by my life companion, Mary, that's sitting right next to her, and her team of sisters and brothers that did all the medical stuff that needed to be done before the ambulance got there to keep the body moving, even though I was dead. Mary kept the team doing the heart compressions on time so I wouldn't become a vegetable. At first, I thought I had been transported from the earth. But I looked up, I was on my back, I had tubes coming out of everywhere, I could barely gasp my breath, and Dallas was standing there. Before, this is hours after I had dropped. And she was there and was support beyond belief and was part of my recovery. Now, our mom was an influencer before the term became an online meme. She was the one that lined up Mark and Dal when she was going through some things and needed the support that our dad, no longer with us, used to supply. It was magic for her, and I could tell in her phone calls. I told her I think everyone needs to find what she and I have found and experienced to truly live to the fullest, and she finally did. Sitting next to me is a special person in my life that was personally inspected and okayed by Dallas and Lori as a late-in-life companion for me. They could have had all been sisters the way they interact. This is Mary Stead.
Thank you, Damon. I am very privileged to have known Dal and experienced the brightness that she brings to people's lives. As you've all noted, her wonderful smile. For me personally, I will be ever grateful that she welcomed me into the family. And from the moment that I met her in person, I was treated like and felt like and always welcomed as though I were not only part of the family, but a sister. And I, as Damon mentioned, that sisterhood actually extends beyond blood relatives, and others of you have already mentioned that. I felt it too. And therefore, it felt always when in her presence that I was accepted unconditionally and could be teased. And that's a supreme compliment, not only when people can laugh together, but when you are teased, you know that you are accepted and welcomed in the family. And that's what I'll be ever grateful for. There's a legacy that Dal has left for all of us. And anecdotally, we can provide many, many examples. I won't go on and on because I could add to this and everyone will know instantly what I'm talking about. That legacy, that example of the bright smile, the joyful attitude, the welcoming, and the spirit of generosity around all of that is relatively rare. And those of us who've experienced Dal know that it doesn't come along very often, and it's to be grateful for. So I'm pleased to be part of this, to be able to express those feelings, and happy that she is surrounded and supported by people who appreciate the most about that. Thank you.
Well, I guess it's my turn. I'm Lori, and I have a letter as well to read. Dear Dal, Dally, Dallas, I'm writing this letter to let you know I'm getting better. Better from the depths I have visited since you got cancer again, and through the anxiety of watching and waiting from afar. Oh, how I missed being next to your side as you fought your valiant fight. It has been a deep, dark place, and I have been feeling the absence of you in my heart. Dear sister, I knew we were close, but I didn't realize the space that you took in that organ. So I have been thinking about all our experiences we've had together. Some of the earliest were in Austin, Minnesota, kneeling by our beds to say our prayers at night. You dressing me up to have to walk out to the family in your coat that reached the floor when I wore it. I felt so special because you had dressed me, and I knew I had to walk out slowly for full effect. Another time, you and Danny's sister, Patty, dressed Danny and me up as bride and groom, and I had to ride in the red wagon to his house for the wedding. All neighborhood kids were there for the ceremony, which you had orchestrated. I was 7 or 8 years younger, depending on the month, and I always looked up to you because you were so fun. You didn't think I was so much fun when we moved to Santa Maria when you were in high school, however. Suddenly, I couldn't follow you and your friends because I was such a pest. Oh, how beautiful you were in your prom dresses with the long gloves, updos from the beauty salon, and dinner with the girls and the guys at our house before the dance. I thought you looked like a princess. Of course, we argued as siblings, but somehow that was resolved when you moved out. You were busy getting married and having Wendy. Time passes. Then your marriage ended, and suddenly we had more time together. We went traveling to Europe. And riding in that bus with all those young people to so many countries was a highlight of my life. Remember both of us shrieking as we tried on clothes and almost fell into the toilet in a tiny broom closet bathroom in Athens? And the store owner came in and whipped open the curtain and went, humph. And that was worth 20 minutes of breathless gales of laughter. We traveled to Minnesota and visited our cousins, aunts, and friends. And it was so fun to connect as adults to them and be together with sister time. We traveled to Pacific Grove to stay at the bed and breakfast, meeting interesting people along the way. We had that in common. We could easily talk to strangers, having inherited that from Dad, I think. We both felt that people are so interesting and can share wonderful experiences. A lot of our relationship was full of laughter and music, just like everybody else is saying. We played duets on the piano, sang songs for Mom and Dad in harmony. Yellow bird up high in banana tree. And we even got Wendy singing with us. We loved dancing with each other, doing the swing and everything else, and just being slapstick funny. Letting me come to your house every year for my vacation was a treat. You and Mark were always so gracious when you let me stay in my bedroom. It's my bedroom, you guys. I was introduced to all your friends and invited to join in the fun with them. Dal, I appreciated your support when I divorced Alec. You knew I had been unhappy through the years, and you and Mark were rocks for me. Thank you. Upon retiring after 32 years, I knew I wanted to do something special on the first day of school the following year. When I thought of who I wanted to do it with, it was always you, Dal. Always. We went to the Airbnb in the Monterey Bay Aquarium and had the best time. Thank you for teaching me how to play Sudoku and Lexulus. I could picture you sitting with your computer at the same time with me, interacting over great words. You always beat the pants off of me, but I didn't mind because I was playing with you. Gosh, Dal, we were lucky to have spent the time together that we did. I will treasure them for the rest of my life. I will miss your memory of family facts and experiences. I will miss my Santa Barbara vacations hanging out with you and Mark. I will miss your wit and humor. And I already miss your voice on the phone. Hopefully, one day I will see you and hug you again. Until then, your loving sister, Lore.
Well, thank you, everyone, for your sharing. It means a great deal. What can I possibly say that would really be enough to express what Dallas has given to me? There aren't enough words in the world. She brought a ray of sunshine into my life. Both of us, having had previous marriages that ended in divorce, knew how precious was the love we had discovered later in life with one another. And if love is a falling, we fell fast and hard. Even though I still had open wounds from my first marriage, I immediately knew upon being with Dallas on our first platonic date that I wanted her in my life. Everything about her drew me to her. Her smile, her easy laughter, her intelligence and wit, her love of music, her uncontrollable urge to dance, and her deep affection for me. We had several blissful months of no one in the world knowing that we were seeing one another. That was some of the best time ever. We shared with one another a deep honesty about our past experiences, our vulnerabilities, our fears, our passions, our joys. I have never felt known as lovingly or completely as I was by Dallas. We continued that depth of sharing throughout our years together. It is, I think, the truest and fullest expression of love, to know someone for who they truly are and to love them in their human fragility and their human beauty. And that is what we sought to do for one another. We made mistakes, of course, and we sometimes let the other down, but there was never any question about our loyalty and devotion to each other. Neither of us really could stay upset with the other for very long. It was just unbearable. And so we had to fix it. Dallas was my muse. I wrote love poems to her, enough to fill a book, and mostly for her eyes only, although I know that she shared some with a few friends. One of our friends observed to me that Dallas brought the sparkle to our relationship and I brought the poetry. And I think that is true. Dallas was my advocate and strongest defender. Dallas made me want to be the most, made me want to be the best person I could be in the world. A lover of creation, a lover of humanity, a lover of justice. The mere fact that she would affirm something good that I did or said made me want to do more of it. Dallas was a wonderful person for my two children, Ethan and Hannah, to have entered their lives. And you've heard from them a little earlier. She added a whole new dimension to who we were as a family and a lot of fun, while also honoring the fact that they already had a mother. And so Dallas tried to be that supportive, caring, and non-judgmental adult friend in their lives. Through Dallas, I became friends with some of her friends, or we made new friends together. Through Dallas, I gained another family whom I love, and it's been a special joy to have Dallas' daughter, Wendy, in my life. Early in our relationship, we both shared our shock over this amazing thing that had happened so quickly and powerfully between us. And we also shared our fears that it was too good to be true. We each kind of feared for the sanity of the other, I think. She feared that the romance would fade and that I would get tired of looking at an older woman. She was a little older than me, just like her mother was older than her dad. And I assured her that was not ever going to be true. And I feared that she might wake up one day and realize that she's involved with a minister who could be asked to move, or decide that being involved with someone with children was too complicated, too much trouble. She knew early on that there were some significant adjustments that she was going to need to make to fit into my world, and that there were many unknowns for her. And yet she said to me in those early days, she said, all I really truly know is that I want you in my life. You are the rest of me, she said, the missing piece of my puzzle. Most importantly of all, Dal was my lover and my best friend. She was always near me, even when we were apart. She was and is my beloved. I wrote many poems to her, and I have continued to write them since she's passed. But I just wanted to share one with you that I actually wrote for her on our anniversary 10 years ago. Those were often the occasions that I would write something for her birthday or Valentine's Day or our anniversary, or sometimes just because. But this one, I think, is one that I perhaps need to hear the words of today. And it's called The Long and Short of It. I know I love you because I look over at you in early light and I can't help but smile. I hear your easy breathing and I find gladness in another day. I long for you when we are apart, yet I don't need to be with you every moment. Every moment is already filled with you. I know each day we will talk. I know we will listen. I know there's a good chance we will laugh or sing. I know we can be silent together. I know we can each be alone. I know you in your absence. I know you in your presence. I know there are still days I feel like a schoolboy. I know as soon as the bell rings, I want to find you most of all. I know you are a gift tied with dancing bows. I know life will be too short for all I want to say to you. I love you, sweetheart. And I always will. I put together some photos of Dallas's life that we're going to share with you now. There are many, many photos that I have, and I'm very grateful for those. It's been a wonderful thing to be looking through those. And so I put together some just to give you a glimpse at her life and her smile and her laughter.
honest you do, honest you do. Whoa, you thrill me. I know you thrill me, darling. You thrill me, honest you do. At first I thought it was infatuation, but ooh, it's lasted so long. Now I find myself wanting to marry you and take you home. Whoa, you send me. I know you send me. I know you send me. Honest you do. Whoa, whenever I'm with you, I know when I'm near. Honest you do, honest you do. Whoa, and oh, I know when you hold me. Whoa, whenever you kiss me. Honest you do. At first I thought it was infatuation, but ooh, it's lasted so long. Now I find myself wanting to marry you and take you home. I know you send me. I know you send me. Send me, honest you do.
dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dare to, oh why can't I? Well, I see trees of Greenland brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like a lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. The dream that you dare to, why, oh, why can't
Our celebration concludes with the prayer of commendation and thanksgiving. Let us pray. God of all creation, your love never ends. When all else fails, you are still God. We thank you for the love that cares for us in life and watches over us in death. In faith and hope, we give back to you the life which in love was given to us. We give thanks today for Dallas, for the gift of her life among us, always vibrant and seeking the way of joy, always generous and giving of herself, valuing friendship and kindness above all, shining her light ever so brightly upon this world, showing us by word and actions that life is precious. Before Dallas was ours, O God, Dallas is yours. For all that Dallas has given us to make us what we are, for that of Dallas which lives and grows in each of us, and for Dallas's life that in your love will never end, we give thanks this day. We believe that in death, as in life, she is in your holy keeping. As we offer her back into your embrace, we pray for comfort in our loneliness, strength in our weakness, and courage to face the future unafraid. Give rest, O Christ, to your servant Dallas with your saints, where there is neither pain nor sorrow nor sighing, but life everlasting. Receive her into the arms of your mercy, into the blessed rest of everlasting peace, and into the glorious company of the saints in light. Amen. I think we're all grateful to those who have shared this afternoon and been a part of this beautiful tribute to Dallas, and of course to Mark, who's made all of this possible to give us a chance to share a bit of that spirit that Dallas shared so generously with us all. Hear this benediction. In the leaving, in the letting go, let there be this to hold on to at the last.
The enduring of love, the persisting of hope, the remembering of joy.
The offering of gratitude, the receiving of grace, and the blessing of peace. Amen.